Last time we looked at this article of like the top 25 cards that was written in April 2014, and so many cards in there were just bad. They were just outright not good. And I came across the second article in that series where they talked about 25 more cards that are considered to be the best cards in Hearthstone. Last time we had Lightwell and Assassinate being good cards. Let's take a look at 25 more cards that were quote-unquote good 6 to 7 years ago. My name is Solem and we talk about Hearthstone quite often, I think in every single video so far. And if you like Hearthstone as well, or you hate the game, maybe you are a Zeddy sub, then consider to click the sub button because we do talk about Hearthstone. And don't forget, you can leave a like. How to use Harvest Golem, Argent Commander, and other popular Hearthstone cards. Published May 22nd, 2014 by Steven. With only 30 cards to each deck, space is at a premium in Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft. Yeah, Hearthstone lost the title. We spoke to several hardcore players to create this top 25 Hearthstone cards list. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And let me hear what you think in the comments down below as well. Number 25, Chillwind Yeti. I hope all the cards are not in this size again. I got bad news, I skimmed through, they're all in that size. He's not glamorous, but not every card needs to be. Remember when people played Innovate into Yeti on turn 1? I think Trump did that once. Having stats on turn 1 was really good. Next is Harvest Golem. For 1 mana less, the Harvest Golem's combined stats are 4/4 over 2 minions. Deceptively solid early game minion in most decks, yes. He was a good card to play in most decks back then. Now the card doesn't see play for like a couple of years now. Ancient and Youthful Brewmaster. Last time I got confused of Youthful Brewmaster. Why is Ancient Brewmaster in here? Why would you ever play the more expensive card if you don't even play the cheaper card? What's really valuable is the ability to recall minions. Cards with a useful battle cries can be twice as effective. That is Foreshadowing Bran. Yeah, that card was missing last time. We had Starfall instead for Druid. Swipe is a really good card for Druid. Like 4 mana, deal damage to things. I don't think it sees play anymore because you have better cards. But Swipe was always decent for sure. Like so many Druid cards, it's all about versatility. Next is Hex. Wait, why is there Hex? We had Hex last time under Polymorph, I think. The card also got nerfed, is now 4 mana instead of 3. I like damaging, dealing, and destruction-based cards like Fireball and Assassinate, and ignores Death Rattles and Divine Shields. Exactly, which is why it got nerfed. Azure Drake is next. This card became part of the Hall of Fame. Good dragon, now we have an even gooder dragon. Yeah, the card was a staple in almost every single mid-range deck. Having stats, spell damage, and drawing a card was a really good minion back then. Next is Spellbreaker. But yeah, you have Silence. Silence is always decent. It is hugely important. Taunt, buffs, Divine Shield, and passive abilities, they all fall to Silence. They set it best. Silence, broken. Next is BGH. So BGH used to be 3 mana for 4/2 in stats with Destroy and minion with 7 attack or more. This against Dr. Boom was really good. And then it got nerfed and became 5 mana. I feel like this card should be rewarded back to 3 mana instead of 5 mana. Because nobody plays that at 5 mana. Like even Shadow of Death became 2 mana instead of 3. Why is this one still at 5? At 17 we get Defender of Argus. In Zudex this was really good. In like Mage decks where you played like Echo Giants Mage, the card also made sense. It was just a really decent card for 4 mana. Then we get Gadgets and Auctioneer. This card used to be 5 mana? Really? In Miracle Rogue? Broken card. Enabled the archetype to exist in the first place. It was 5 mana? I didn't even know this card got nerfed to 6. It's one of only a few that gives repeatable card draw, and the 4/4 minion is quite stable in its own right. Good minion back then, especially for 5 mana. Number 15 is Knife Juggler. How is that only number 15? Back then it used to be a 3/2. It was really good in Zudex when you played like Implosion and other cards like that. 14 is Argent Commander. Charge Divine Shield. Yeah, the card doesn't really see play much anymore, but Charge and Divine Shield worked well together, yeah. So you basically dealt 4 damage to a minion, and summoned a 4/2. Was a decent card for 6 mana for sure. I think I played that in like mid-range Paladin in 2015 or so. Brewmasters and especially Shadow Step are huge boons when using him in the late game. Did people really play that? But yeah, next is Faceless. Before I read the description and what the guy thinks for putting it at number 13, I expect to say big minions like Ragnaros the Firelord or Giants. Offensively by copying big allied minions. Okay, no examples. Terrible. I thought they at least mentioned Mountain Giant. It didn't. Next minion is a little bit different. It's Ned Pagel. I think it was before the nerf, right? So before the nerf, it was a 2 mana 0/5 at the end of your turn, have a 50% chance to draw a card. But this is after the nerf. How is that number 12? What? I'm so confused. Let's read what the guy says. Like Tinkmaster Overspark, Ned Pagel's tax has an element of inconsistency. There is no guarantee. Exactly. It excels if you're opening hand because it's unlikely your opponent can remove him at that point. With that mindset, Novice Engineer is God tier. I feel like this card never was good with that effect, but I might be wrong here. Number 11 is Bloodmage Thanos. Yeah, that card is good, period. Sees play in a lot of decks still, draws a card, has spell damage. Fantastic minion. Now we get Sylvanas, thank you. So I was missing the card on the last list. Sylvanas is only number 10, which is insane considering she, as well as Ragnaros, became part of the Hall of Fame in the first rotation. Oh yeah, that reminds me. We should get cards like Iceblock as well in this list later on. We're not very good with Sylvanas, but a lot of people are. How can you be bad at that? Just play the minions to something. The real power comes from forcing your opponent to play around her, so as to not activate her ability. Glad that she's at least top 10 in this list. Next is Leroy, also part of the Hall of Fame. He was 4 mana back then. Yeah, he got nerfed to 5 and still was really broken. Imagine 4 mana Leroy nowadays. Would probably be a Demon Hunter card if at all. Good old Leroy. At 4 mana, he's basically a fireball with board presence. True. I used the always popular rogue combo, Leroy Shadowstep Coldblood. People used that, yeah. But then Leroy got nerfed and Coldblood got nerfed. Tankmaster, boy I like that card. I got it in golden on EU and North America. Transform another random minion into a 5/5 or 1/1. So before the card got nerfed to this effect, you used to be able to choose the target and the outcome. So it was really, really good. But with that effect, it's number 8. All you dollars out there who hate Tankmaster, look at his beard. He is better than Sylvanas. Now you know. Interesting that he is like top 8. Next is Tyrion. Taunt, Divine Shield, and amazing death rattle that can cleave off half an enemy's health 3 turns. Tyrion is a magnet for silence. Yeah, or for Sylvanas to steal your Tyrion. You can also use a Youthful Brewmaster to replay a silenced Tyrion in a single turn. What argument is that? So Youthful Brewmaster was a great card because it removes silence. Yes. Number 6, Kayn. Kayn was really good back then because you just played a well-studded minion and it actually worked. It didn't get silenced, didn't get transformed or sapped. You just played a 6 mana 8/10. This is an 8/10 card spread across 2 targets. My words. 6 mana is pretty reasonable considering Assassinate and Fireball. This guy is obsessed with Assassinate. Savannah Highmane. Yes, people always thought that this guy is a legendary minion or should be treated as one. In Midrange Hunter, playing 2 of those, that was broken. Like, people really wanted this card to either rotate out, get nerfed, or become a legendary. And now Zephrys gives you the card on like 8 mana when you play him for 2. Number 4 is Lord Jaraxxus. In the last list he was number 3, or number 2 I think. Why is he number 4 in here? He's ever so slightly situational, but the situation is one you're likely to encounter as a Warlock. Good card, but I expected something else in a top 5 list. Next is Onixia. Interesting story. When I started playing Hearthstone, I bought 81 packs for 100 euros. Because I bought like Battle.net store cards on my very first week of playing. And my friend was spectating me through Skype when I was opening all my classic packs. And in those 81 packs, I got 2 legendaries. Onixia and Lord Jaraxxus. And I didn't use any of them because I only played midrange Paladin. I disenchanted both and crafted Ragnaros. Number 2, Ragnaros. Thank you. Deals 8 damage, became part of the Hall of Fame. Always a really good minion, better than all the other cards in the last list. I always thought it was funny when people tried to silence Ragnaros and thought like, yeah, now the card is useless. No, you can just attack with that. So before we look at number 1, what can it be? We haven't seen Iceblock, we haven't seen Doomsayer, we haven't seen Archmage and Tinnitus, but this is also before any Hearthstone tournament. So far we've only seen like good stated minions, so is number 1 Ogre? Maybe it's another Dragon. Maybe it's like Deathwing. Actually, yeah, maybe it's Deathwing. I would bet on Deathwing. 10 mana 12/12, Daddy Wing, always decent. It's Ysera. Oh, never mind. It's Ysera, it's not Deathwing. How is there no Deathwing? I guess in Priest it was really good and it always generated value, 4/12 in stats. Ysera isn't just a dangerous card. Ysera makes dangerous cards. That's a fact. That's a fact. She makes dangerous cards. The Jolly Sisters and the Emerald Dragon. Even if you lose her on your opponent's next turn, which isn't likely without serious single target removal. If you manage to keep her out for more than 1 turn, you're probably in a position to win the game. We suppose Priest players really think this card is unfair. I suppose Priest sucks. I remember watching Amas in 2015 playing Priest and High Legend. Those are the good old days of Hearthstone. I miss those days. I also draw a Dream card. Dream, the Minecraft speedrunner. Dream has to be number 1. And with that, I would ask you, what do you think was the least good card in this list? From the point of view that this list was made like 8 years ago. I mean 6, but that's basically 8. We can round up. I'm missing Deathwing in here and Iceblock. Definitely Iceblock. If you haven't seen the last video of this list, there were 25 other cards that were considered to be the best cards in Hearthstone, which had some similarities to this list, but were mostly different. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. You make sure to subscribe so I can boost my ego with a higher number on that YouTube channel. And until then, take care.